Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. So as a channel that has made plenty of observation on beauty and ugliness, it is very likely that I'm going to be misunderstood by people that have not seen the rest of the work on my channel. And I'm going to be misunderstood or misrepresented as somebody that is materialistic, that I promote consumerism, and that I am a very surface level person. And I want to make videos like this every now and then. I feel like I have to at this point, so I can redirect those people and anybody else that has any doubts about my motives when it comes to beauty or ugliness, redirect them to videos like this so that they know that I am also here to give you solutions to problems that you may have when it comes to, let's say, not being able to afford certain beautiful things, or maybe changing your interpretation of what is beautiful, giving you ideas for creative solutions to problems in a world where it can be very difficult to afford a lot of things. The economy that we live in, the average price of well-made things going up over the years because craftsmen and artisans are very hard to come by. People who are skilled in what they do, this is lost. These arts are being lost now, and those who pick them up are few and far between, so they ask for quite a bit of money when it comes to, let's say, making a beautiful thing. But because of the excesses of our very consumeristic societies, we also live in a time period where we have a great advantage because of places like thrift stores, secondhand shops, consignment stores, and there are plenty of people who have taken the liberty to take the excess and put it back out into the world and give it a new life. Because of all of those things, I think that you can still live a beautiful life without having to come from, let's say, wealth. I think you can live a beautiful life even if you work. It doesn't have to be a life of leisure, all that. I want to make those disclaimers right away because I think that people do misunderstand me a lot. Videos like this are meant to give you solutions to problems that you think that you may have, or just change your perspective on things. So I'm going to be talking about some cheap or free beautiful things in your life. If you are in a situation where you don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of time on your hands, or anything like that, I'm trying to give you, I think I have like 14 things on this list. I'm giving you solutions to that problem. Whether or not you take one or multiple of these things or activities, you adopt any of these into your life, I think that's a win. I think that changes even the smallest bit of your life to have a more beautiful life. But there is really this idea that you need to buy things in order to have a beautiful life. And while material goods are absolutely a part of a beautiful life, because beautiful objects are a manifestation of beauty here on earth, right? But people start to buy things because of, let's say, how much money they cost, or people start to view a beautiful life as a life that equates to spending money all the time. That you have to go out and buy a dinner, or go shopping, or do any of those things that involve spending money. And that's simply not true. One of the most beautiful activities that is going to be the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is contemplation. It's just thinking. And that's free of charge. You can do that anytime you'd like. Daydreaming is free. And thinking about something beautiful, whether it's a work of art, an object that you have in your house, a beautiful idea, thinking about virtues, whatever, or even a book that you read, thinking about that's a wonderful, beautiful activity. And that is the seed of all beautiful things, is contemplation. So I really want to dispel this idea that you have to spend a lot of money for beautiful things, that you need to have a lot of time, and that there are, if you are creative and you're resourceful, just like with anything else, and if you want it, you can add beauty to your life and make your life more beautiful. It's not always about things, if you know what I mean. Hopefully I've been explaining this well enough. Beautiful things, like ugly things, I will reiterate this probably now in every video that I do. They change your conduct. They change the way that you interact, not only with this object, but with others as well. Because in my last video, I talked about how an object is not just an object, but it has a soul, it has a life. And so whoever made this object, whoever had this ideation to create this object, you are actually interacting with that person in a way, too. whatever their values are, whatever the core is in which this thing was created, you are interacting with that all the time. So it's a kind of social relationship with everything that you have. You know, like this bangle that I have, the lipstick that I used today, this dress that I'm wearing. These are all in a way kind of like people that I'm interacting with. So it absolutely, if we're a society that puts so much weight on our social relationships and mental health and things like this, I think it's very important to look at it in that way, because we care so much about vibes, right? We care so much about somebody's disposition, their demeanor, what their past is and all that, you know, what informs their behavior. So I think it's important to know that somebody made an object that you are coming into contact with, or an event that you're going to was the product of a person. So it's important to think of things like that. And I'm saying it right now in the beginning of this video, sort of, so that people will... I said it in the end of my last video. I'm saying it a little bit earlier now so that maybe people won't miss it, or they think that I'm just being superficial or materialistic when I'm talking about beautiful things. Beautiful things, like ugly things, change how you interact with the world, and they affect you negatively or positively. And so the first cheap, beautiful thing, like I said, it's free, it's contemplation. To think. It is a wonderful thing to have ideas of your own, creative ideas, to look upon an object and look at it past its function, but to look at it for what it is, the idea that it is, and its place in the world, or its place in the world that it is somehow made for itself, I guess. You know, the individuality of an object or an idea. Contemplation is a wonderful thing. I love to just sit and think. Personally. And like I said before in this video, because I kind of already prefaced this and I won't talk too much more about it, but contemplation is the seed for beauty. It is the beginning of everything. So before a beautiful object is ever created or manifested, it started out as an idea, and it started out as pondering a little bit more about something, looking at it past just its surface level attributes, right? And contemplation is free. You can go out into the world and you can sit in the sun, sit on a park bench, go for a walk, and you can just think. And it's incredibly good for you. It's calming. It's a kind of meditation. And I know I've been reading a little bit into like meditation, and some people would say that to meditate, you shouldn't think about anything, right? That's like the opposite of it. But it is a kind of meditation in its own right. To think calms the mind, just like walking does. It clears the mind. You're walking through something, you're moving through something, and it fixes something. It makes you feel like you've arrived somewhere. And usually the arrival for a lot of contemplation is to, let's say, create something if you're an artist, or to start this new project, or to initiate a change in your life, whatever it may be. But yeah, contemplation, number one. That's free. The second thing that's also free, because we have the internet and we have plenty of people like me, like on YouTube and other things, who are willing to just put out information. You can get knowledge for free all the time. And learning is the second thing. Learning is a beautiful thing. Learning is, again, a type of seed. Learning initiates growth. Knowledge, especially when it comes to beauty, it allows you to see the world in more colors. When you understand something, you're able to appreciate it more. So knowledge is allowing you, in a way, to speak the language of the world, or whatever subject it is that you end up learning, whatever skill, let's say, you want to learn. Through that, you are becoming more proficient at life in some way, and that's a beautiful thing, especially if it's a specific thing. You know, beauty is a lot about specifics, and like being able to learn and master something is, in a way, being able to prove that something. They're proofs of beauty. Being able to say that this is beautiful because of this. Learning about that is very, very interesting. Learning is free. This video is free to you right now. I get paid from YouTube, sure, but like this video is free of charge for you guys, you know, like you can learn things all the time. So, and they make you better as a person. They add to you. Learning is free. I'm not even talking about like, you know, an education, you know, it's learning. The joy of learning is free. Number 3, another cheap, beautiful thing that you can do, which is within the domain of ritual and ceremony in order to elevate things in your everyday life, would be something as simple as like setting the table for yourself or for your significant other, having a dinner, whatever it may be. There is something so joyous and wonderful about, doesn't even matter what you have, you know? Let's say we're at the base level, you've got like plastic cups and like cheap cutlery from Walmart, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is one of these things that it just doesn't matter what you even have. The materials used to conduct this ceremony. While I suggest later in life, when you can, yes, you should definitely elevate those everyday things, those utilitarian objects like the cup, like the utensils. But the ceremony itself is beautiful. To set the table, to prepare for a meal, to elevate, let's say, the act of eating. Setting the table is a wonderful way to show yourself some respect and show some respect to the thing that you're eating. Setting the table is, let's say, the first step to making your life more beautiful, because we're talking about ritualization with that, right? A thing, by the way, that is absolutely a necessity, right? It's a need to eat, but you can change that from a need into what Friedrich Schiller would call play, turning it from work into play, the theory of play. And that beauty, we're getting a little into philosophy here for a second, but there's, of course, beauty is a part of the holiday life. It is a part of what Schiller calls play. It is a part of your life where you don't worry about things like need and necessity, right? You worry about, you have more leisurely activities in this time, right? So this is a great way to take something that is resulting from need, like the need to nourish yourself and to eat, and then changing that into play. That is a beautiful act right there. And the utensils, what you use to conduct this ceremony, can be changed later. And you'll find that you will do that on your own. You will find a way to elevate that. You will go to the thrift store if you don't want to go to the store and pay full retail price for whatever cup, whatever plate, whatever fork, okay? You will do that on your own. Beauty, this is just the beginning, okay? Cheap things, cheap, beautiful things, a lot of these things are just paying attention to things that are normally forgotten. That's where you start with beauty, is focusing on those minuscule, disregarded details that other people find superfluous, I guess. The fourth thing is going to be doing your nails yourself. I've been talking about this on this channel for a long time because I do my nails myself. I do not go to get my nails done at the salon. One, because I don't want to pay the prices. I understand the prices, I just don't want to pay them. And I personally like the act of doing it myself because it's me taking care of me. And also acrylics are fake acrylics. We're talking like, I don't know if you can see, these are just painted gold, but they are just like fake plastic nails that come in a pack of like 24 or 26 or something like that. And they have some glue, they're glue-ons, okay? These last me like 2 weeks. They're $8 for 2 sets, okay? And I love doing my nails. That's one of the cheapest, most wonderful things that I do. And I will do this for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna go ever to a salon because I like doing it so much. But this is, again, you can either go and get it done, you can spend the money if you want to. And it can become just kind of this thing you have to do, right? Because somebody else is doing it for you, you're paying the money, it's just easy. This is not necessarily the most convenient way to do this, because I have to do it, I have to place them, I have to paint them, I have to wait, I have to do it with my right hand and my left hand, you know? You learn about how to do it and like what is the best way for you or whatever. Those things take time, and this is an example of elevating something that you need to do. Take care of your nails, right? So it could just be going to the salon or just like letting them go and whatever and not taking care of them, or you can choose to elevate them and you can choose to do it yourself for a far lower price. Doing your nails, it's one of my favorite things. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years now. That is a wonderful time. I just listen to some music or an audiobook and I do my nails. That is not only a ceremony for me, as a person, but it is for how I feel about being a woman. The ceremonies of bathing and outward projection and things like that as a woman, I feel extraordinarily feminine, and I feel enhanced and glamorous whenever I do my nails, among other things. But I love the artifice of nails and the accentuation of something that would never be this long normally. I like the artificialness of that, right? That's contemplation, that's things like that. You can be doing multiple ones on this list at once, you can be thinking about it like that. Number 5, again, this is elevating something that you do every day. You can go to a thrift store and buy a scarf for your hair and tie it around your head, put on some sunglasses, and you go for a drive. And this is of course for whenever it is hot out and you can have the windows down so that your hair actually does not, start blowing everywhere and get all tangled and everything. So this is a need. Driving used to be a far more luxurious thing at some point. There were driving gloves, people, they had to have them to a degree. They were a function thing, but then they were made to be beautiful, more feminine, so that women could wear them, softer, This is one of those few things where it's functional and beautiful to have your head wrapped in a scarf, because you don't want your hair to get messed up. Perfect confluence of those things. Function, necessity, right? As well as superfluousness, something done just because it just looks beautiful. And silk scarves, may I say, you don't gotta go and buy one from a place like Nordstrom or Saks Fifth Avenue or anything and pay extraordinary amounts of money for a beautiful silk scarf for your head. You don't. You can go to the thrift store. There are so many of them hanging there and collecting dust that it is literally a public service to take the excess away and take it for yourself and use it and give it a new life. You can get scarves for like $3, less than $3. There have been sales some days where you can get things for like $1. Okay? We are so lucky to have the amount of thrift stores that we do, resale companies, small businesses, and things like that. There's literally no excuse for you to have ugly shit in your life. There's really not. There's plenty of beautiful things in circulation out there in the world to change something as silly as driving, to elevate something like that, and to also keep your hair from getting tangled. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's beautiful. It's something that you can change. It changes your life. I myself got driving gloves. I found them at a antique and thrift store. They're gold. I posted them on my Instagram. I now wear them whenever I drive because it changes the way that I drive. Makes me drive slower. I have to put them on when I get in the car. It initiates a change in conduct. A lot of these, pretty much all of these things do. And I got them at that thrift store, I think, for like $5. Cheap, but it changes things. Makes you a little bit happier. Makes you a little bit more joyful. For those of us that are that have a proclivity for beauty, or a predisposition to appreciate beautiful things, or to need beautiful things. Number 6 on the list is going to be a record player. This is probably the most expensive thing on this list, really. That's going to be, I got mine. It's a Crosby. It's whatever, it's whatever. It's $45. I think I got it at a secondhand store. Having a record player, I had wanted one for quite a few years. It was like a big thing back in the day, with the hipsters and everything. But disclaimer here, I really love some of the sentiments of hipsters, and I think that we should stop giving them so much shit because they really had some things to say, especially when it came to doing things the old way, the more traditional way, especially when it came to things like music, right? Or film or things like that, because there was a magic. There was a magic because things weren't always convenient. A record player is not convenient at all, at least not in today's day. A record player, you have to get the record and you have to sit and you got to listen to it in your house. You can't take it with you. It is not portable. It can be, but not really. I love the sentiment of that. Because it's not just about listening to music on the go, on your phone, on Spotify, a streaming platform. You can have it anywhere. No, you got to sit down and listen to a record in your room or wherever else it is in the house. That changes things. That is important. I had a friend of mine, I had just got this really wonderful vinyl of one of my favorite albums ever to be recorded. And it was pressed in, I think, 1998 or something like that. And I told my friend about it because they were also enthusiastic about this kind of, this genre of music that I was listening to. And I was like, yeah, I got it on vinyl. I'm so excited. It's like a collector's thing. And he was just like, yeah, but like anything after the 80s is digitized. It's just pressed or whatever. He's like, there's no point in even getting the record. Who really cares? And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're wrong. You're wrong. It changes everything. I can listen to this album on YouTube, on my phone with my headphones or whatever. But that isn't enough. This is the greatest album ever to me. Okay, why would I want to just listen to it willy-nilly just anywhere? No. The record player ritualizes it. When I got this album, I sat in my room, I had a nice Belgian beer, and I listened to that album. There's two vinyls, because the songs are very long. And I listened to it all the way through. I sat in my room, I didn't leave, and I listened to it all the way through. That changes things. Also, I don't dust. I don't really dust a lot. It's a problem. But when I don't dust, I have dust that accumulates on my records. And yeah, I like that because I like the sound of the dust and the scratches and stuff. I know it's probably not like good for the record. I get it. But it's things like that you can't get when you listen on Spotify or whatever. It's these types of things, the old method of doing things, because they didn't have the technology, because of the lack of convenience, these kinds of things change the way people did things. It affects people, the culture. I mean, think about what vinyl did to music and how people listen to music and your parents' generation and stuff. It changes the way you did things. And then once people were able to take music, everything was portable, changed everything. Changed how often people listened to music, how much music they listened to, how many new artists they were able to come into contact with. The specialization of the type of genres and things that they like changed the game, okay? I prefer to sit in my room and listen to a record. I like that. I like how that changes my behavior. And that's cheap. And, once you have the record player, vinyls are very cheap. You can get vinyls for like $7, $4, $1 at some places. Very cheap. You can go out and it's a nice little outing. You can go out and get yourself one every like week or every month or however often you want to do it, okay? The record player is probably, like I said, the most expensive thing on this list, but it's a great way to change how you do things. And once you have the record player, very cheap. You can make a little outing and go out and get vinyls. And especially you can't preview vinyls. So you have to like guess. It's a guessing game whenever you get a new vinyl and you don't know, you've never heard of this artist. You're like, all right, let's just give it a whirl. Let's see if we'll like it. That's another great thing. The discovery of music when it came to vinyls and stuff, or at least how it is for whenever I go into the store. I love like not knowing what I'm getting. It's scary for me because I like structure. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised a lot of the time. I don't have one vinyl that I don't like. Okay. Here are a few things. I'm going to put these two together. But if we're talking about like things like found objects and whatnot, things like chandelier crystals, like loaded dye, anything of that sort, little found objects and like little detail pieces from like home decor or like games or whatever it may be. These things are wonderful because you can make them into jewelry. I got some chandelier crystals from like a secondhand like materials and like construction store that is near me, and I made them into earrings. They're wonderful. I made them for Cammie too, and they were just discarded. They were discarded from a chandelier that nobody wanted anymore, that was abandoned, and now they were selling them for like $3 a piece or something, and I got levy backs for them, and I made them into earrings, and I love them. They're like my favorite earrings ever. Loaded dye, I would buy loaded dye dice at like a thrift store, and then I would I've seen a friend of ours make a keychain out of it to dangle off of her purse. I myself have had them. I've made them into necklaces, earrings, you can put them around the house. I've had them like things like this as paperweights or just like sitting on a tray or something. They're just nice to look at. They're like really curious objects. Things like that. That's part of the creativity, is that you find little objects like this that are cheap or discarded somewhere in a bin or at a flea market or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, that'd be a great piece of jewelry. Or I can use this as like decor in my house, or it can just be sitting around on my nightstand and I can just look at it. I can contemplate it. Another one of those things is like fortune cookie fortunes. Those are curious, weird, strange little things, aren't they? But a lot of people throw away the fortunes after they've read them. Don't do that. Keep them. They're excellent decor. Collect them. Put them in an album. Keep them. That's another thing on this list. I don't know. We're at like 9 or 10 or something right now. But yeah, fortune cookie fortunes. Take them, collect them, okay? And then put them on a wall, and see how many you collect over the years and years. I think that's really cool to have those. And then also, they mark a time in your life, right? If you believe in fortunes, then you will see the progression of your life, and where the fortune itself will tell you, like who you were at that time. You can date them, for example, and you can be like, oh, this year I got this fortune, it meant this. That's really cool. That's a great sentimental piece to have in your house. It's like an art piece. It's things like that. You got to stop looking at things as just their function or as disposable, and then they become wondrous objects that you can incorporate into your daily life. Changes the game. Number 10? I don't even know what we're on anymore. This is a personal preference of mine, but I love me a tall glass of beer on an empty stomach. That is a beautiful thing to me, and it's also very cheap. Beer is cheap. Because one, it rosies up the world for a little bit. You only need one because it's on an empty stomach. And for the next 2 hours or so, you're just in this perfect euphoric bliss. It's this bliss that alcoholics have described as the thing that they continuously chase, right? And why they want to drink more and more and more is to get back that special feeling. Only having one, right? That's that artificiality, that ritualism, that singling out of that one thing. You could have many, and I myself have had many. But if you restrain yourself and you discipline yourself to only have that one beer on an empty stomach, it becomes an absolute experience. Changes how you conduct yourself, but it also, because you can only have one, you really savor the feeling. It has a lot of meaning. So yeah, give that a try. If you're into alcohol, if you're not, then this one is not for you. But it's one of my favorite things to do, is have a tall, a pint of beer on an empty stomach and just go for a walk. And usually I do it whenever the sun is out, whenever it's a nice day. That'll give you not only liquid courage, but it makes the world seem a little less bleak sometimes. And sometimes you just need that, You need the illusion of beauty. And you can get that in a glass of beer, at the bottom of a glass of beer. Number 11 would be candles. Cheap, so cheap. I'm not talking about the really big, hand-poured ones. I'm talking ones you can get at IKEA in a bundle, right? And they're tapered, and you can burn those for hours and hours and hours. Cheap, but it changes everything. It changes, one, the lighting situation, which I described as being very ugly, up recessed lighting, that's, from above. We're dimming the surroundings. We're making the world softer. You're changing your experience of the world and your home with candles. It makes things less excitable, calms you down. And it also just makes you not have to pay attention to all the rest of this maybe stuff in your house, you haven't cleaned that day or whatever. Just light a candle. It also just adds a little romantic charm to your interior, and why not? That's a beautiful thing. You can change an average interior into a romantic, soft, and sweet one very quickly with candles, and they're cheap. Just budget it out. Get $20 of candles a month or something like that, and you can change your entire the interior of your home. The last thing I'm going to say is a cheap, beautiful thing. This is free. Is pay attention and celebrate natural events. Things like thunderstorms or like monsoons, or like, of course, people do like meteor showers, eclipses, like lunar events and things like that. Make sure you like celebrate those. That's a great thing. If there's a thunderstorm, go out and sit on your porch and listen and be quiet and still whenever you do. Watch it pass. See the rain let up. Smell the air. Contemplate how you feel, how it makes you feel. Single these events out. If you can predict them, if you can see ahead of time, plan to be present for those moments, okay? Beauty is so much about that, is being present and paying attention and focusing, to contemplate, to feel sensorial experiences. Take something that people would be like, oh no, it's gonna rain today. Go out into the rain. Enjoy it for the spectacle that it is. It's not an everyday whatever thing. Thunderstorms, lightning, monsoons. If you live in other climates, there's all kinds of other things like dust storms and things like this that you can witness. And also it's an experience, a little bit of the sublime. You get to feel small for a minute and watch in awe at something that is much larger than yourself. Life, I feel like I'm running out of breath. Life is filled with beauty if you need only see it. If you need only pay attention for a second. It can be 5 minutes a day that you allot to yourself in order for you to incorporate any of these things into your life. That's all it takes. And then you will find that you want more, and it will change your behaviors, and you will find solutions to problems. It's not about money. It's about time, definitely, but you do not have to live some life of leisure with no job or whatever in order to live a life of beauty or to incorporate ritual, ceremony, contemplation, thinking, a meditation on the world as it is. You don't need wealth and leisure for that, okay? So these are some cheap, beautiful things. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that this can clear up some of the things, some misconceptions about my theories on beauty versus ugliness, beautiful things versus ugly things. Hopefully I was able to do that with this video, and I will probably have to continue to do this in the future. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. Please leave any of your suggestions in the comments. I highly encourage this. Talk amongst yourselves. This is a community of people, like-minded people. Please share your thoughts and converse with one another. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe as always, and I will be back next week to see all you lovely people. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.